text conversation from earlier this week was in regards to Vervaeke was sort of a linking of narcissism and unearned esteem.
Yeah.
And I'd love to hear anything else you have to say about that. But the reason I'm bringing that in right now is that, like, oh man, so the mystery of reality, the mystery that, like, it's we're never quite sure what's presented to us. And
Mm,
we can have concepts about it, but that's never going to match what's actually happening.
mm,
Um, that, like, the truth of our interior reality is that we are a mystery to ourselves. We don't know
yeah.
ourselves at all, and we can grow to interact with that mystery over time, and we can sort of refine what we mean by myself and this thing that I am, and which parts what it is. Like, all of that can be refined over time. But if you don't, if you if you want to just have an answer of who you are, rather than the admittedly somewhat scary question of I don't know who I am, you get caught in needing an image. And then you can get sort of magnetized onto that image more and more to save you from sort of the fear of the mystery. But if you can start to esteem the mystery, if you can start to appreciate that, wow, I don't know who I am, and it's an adventure, it's mysterious, it's wonderful, it's terrifying, it's full of awe in that religious, scary kind of a what the fuck is even going on here kind of a way. Like, it, to the extent that you can value that process in yourself, you don't need external reinforcement. You don't need
Mm.
unnecessary what's the Vervaeke term?
Oh,
Um,
unearned positive regard. I think that's how he defines narcissism.
Perfect. Perfect. You don't need that anymore because you've learned to face the mystery of yourself and regard that positively.
Yeah.
And as soon as you're like, oh, this fountain of mystery inside of me that is always presenting something that is kind of familiar, but is also kind of completely a mystery. I'm not sure what is going on here. If you're like, this is interesting,
Yeah.
then you don't need any unearned external validation like that.
Mm.
Um, that's really, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's sort of life as an adventure, life as knowledge building. How do you make sure, and this is another Vervaekean sort of Platonic kind of thing, how do you make sure you don't get solipsistic though, where you're maybe overly concerned with, yeah, your internal kinds of processes, yourself, because it is always, after all, a every single bit of information you get within your body and mind is potential clues to who you are. And if you're trying to, or maybe I'm mischaracterizing, uh, but who, if you're trying to find out who you are, then maybe you can get solipsistic and too focused on just your internal processes.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to hear what Vervaeke has to say about that, but my thought would be like, like we were talking earlier with the narcissist, like, there are other people. They are also just as mysterious and interesting as my own internal world, or the world as a whole is. And there are good ways to relate to them that are enjoyable, and there are ways where if I'm not paying attention to them, they have an impact on me.
Mm.
And what does that mean? I mean, um,
Mm.
you kind of can't ignore other people, like because they exist. So I mean, you could go completely solipsistic and run off to a cave somewhere and live on your own and grow your own food and have no interaction with other people. But even at that point, you're interacting with the world.
Mm.
In order to eat, you have to raise food, or you have to go hunting. You have to understand the seasons. You have to understand something about the world that's outside of yourself. If you go completely inside yourself, you're a vegetable. There's no information coming in from the world around you. Um, you're not even there anymore. So
Hmm.
um the I think the danger is more one of pretending that the outside isn't impacting you when it is, because
Hmm.
it always will, if as long as you need to eat, as long as your system is not entirely self-sustaining, you need to interact with the outside world. And if you need to interact with the outside world, you are interacting with the mystery as an other, as opposed to the mystery of my own being.
Hmm.
Um, and I think you maybe want to burn that particular candle at both ends, so
Hmm.
that like the other person, you're comfortable with the other person's mystery, and you're comfortable with your own mystery, and
Hmm.
you're comfortable with the two of them being the same mystery. And you don't have to protect and guard against things quite as much.
So you're kind of saying how to not be so solipsistic is to understand that the world and others are just as much a mystery as yourself. So you might as well sort of pay attention to them too. And also, they impact you, so you will suffer if you don't pay enough attention to others and the world around you. I mean, that.
Yeah, I mean, I would sort of clarify, not cl turn the dial down on that last statement of like, if you don't pay attention, you will suffer. Like it's true, and that is what I was saying. And so this is more of a refinement, but it's
Hmm.
like other people impact you, and it's already happening. Like
Hmm.
we don't really exist, entirely on our own. They say we're oftentimes you can map the person's personality onto like the five or six people they spend the most time with or something. Like
Hmm.
we sort of build ourselves out of the way we are seen by other people in a non-narcissistic kind of way.
Hmm.
We all information, you
You do
know,
have to adapt to others. I mean, it's.
exactly. Like it's just happening. It's happening all the time. And to the extent that you can acknowledge it, then your system is happier and healthier.
Hmm.
And when you don't acknowledge it, like because it's happening anyway, if you don't acknowledge it, then there's some sort of a block in that flow of information where it's coming and going, but
Hmm.
it's not reaching some part of you that is being solipsistic. And there will be friction there. That will be dukkha in the Buddhist language. There will be something there that is uncomfortable.
Hmm.
And it's your choice whether you want to pave over that discomfort and retreat
Hmm.
back further into solipsism, or
Hmm.
you want to say, oh, this is hurting. Let me look at the pain and
Hmm.
let me like resolve what the barrier, what the friction is here. Let me see if I can use my attention to do that. And that's sort of the gift of other people. The gift of sort of suffering other people as other than us, and having things that they want that are different than us, but being able to kind of work through that.
Hmm.
Mm, there's this spiritual teacher. I think I've mentioned him a few times. Thomas Hubel.
Hmm.
I think he's from Austria, but he talks about the feedback loop between people of information, of like
Hmm.
I'm feeling you, feeling me, and you're feeling me, feeling you, and there's this like
Hmm.
when you're relating to the person as a mystery in this non-solipsistic way, there's a flow of information that is flowing between the two of you,
Hmm.
that you're conscious of.
Hmm.
And there's a vulnerability there because you're never quite sure what the other person is going to say, but you
Hmm.
have enough esteem in yourself that you're able to open to that and let that information flow without hiding yourself away, or just being like, oh, they're just a jerk, I don't want to deal with them, or
Hmm.
or they just love me and that's great. And as long as they do that, everything's great. Like you're actually dealing with them as an unknown. Then the information can flow, and you're kind of feeding each other in that sense.
Yeah.
Because then, yeah.
No, I think that's great. And that reminds me of earlier. Please like and subscribe for more of our open minded content and comment below on your thoughts or questions about the story. Let us know if you'd like us to cover another stimulating story, and thank you for participating.